Hello and welcome to my next build, which is a Scourge Arrow Pathfinder. So before I go over my gear and how to get it, first gonna do a map showcase so you can see how the build works. Just at tier 16 on Awakener 8, of course.
Hindsight is bleeding when your heart's bleeding, and all you can see is red. Till you discover it is within each other to forgive and make amends. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have said what I said. I took the long road, thought I'd be better on my own. Sometimes what's right is wrong instead, 'cause I was too young and I didn't understand that you were the one, and I can't wait to see you again. Oh, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait, 'cause I was too young and I didn't understand that you when you want to get off that darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye.
So that was the mapping showcase. Pretty fast character, with also very defensive. I don't think I've died on this character, maybe once, but that probably was a misplay of my part. On top of that, I've done all the content on this character as well, Awakener 8 multiple times. Now, it is a damage over time build, so you're not gonna just go in and one-shot him, but it goes pretty fast, the damage is very nice. And the build is relatively budget compared to my other builds. So I'll go over the gear and what you can do instead to make it even more budget. So first of all, the weapon, Darkscorn, in my opinion, best in slot. Since it's only one exalt, you don't even need it 6-linked. I just happen to have it 6-linked. But you can make a rare bow with more damage, but you're looking at least a 10 exalt plus craft at that stage. On top of that, you're losing the physical damage from hits taken as chaos damage, which is a very good defensive buff. So I don't think it's worth it to lose that mod just for some more damage, because I don't need the damage, but it's up to you. On top of that, next thing, the helm. Now, you want the helm enchant, Scourge Arrow creates national sport pod at maximum stages, and you can get this on a helm pretty cheaply. I think there's a few at 50 to 60 chaos even for the base, and then you want to craft it out. Now, you could just go for something with life and resist, but I do think at least the physical damage from hits taken as cold damage is a mod you definitely want, which you can just use a Redeemer Orb, and then you can roll that, which Redeemer Orbs were only 1 exalt when I did it. And if you want to go a bit more invested, you can also get an Awakener Orb and a Hunter Helmet with nearby enemies have -9 to chaos resistance, which is a bit more offensive mod, but I'd say drop that if you were gonna drop one of the two mods. And then you can just Awaken Orb them together, and then you get some life and a resist, which you can easily do with harvest crafting. Next, the quiver. So the most important stats here is the bow attacks fire additional arrow, and then +2 to maximum chaos resistance and the chaos dot multi. And then I got chaos res as my other suffix because I needed the resist, and then life, which is easy. So how I went crafting this, so you want a warlord quiver with bow attacks fire additional arrow, and then you want a hunter quiver with chaos damage over time multiplier tier 1, and then awaken orb them together. And then with harvest crafting, if your suffixes are full and you augment a chaos augment, it will always be the maximum chaos resistance. Now you might have to redo it a few times because you can roll +1% and +2. And then life, you just want to remove add life till you get a decent amount of life. I only got 64, can easily get this higher, but it's not really a priority for me. And then for the suffixes, I did a chaos augment and got tier 2 chaos resist. Now if you want to be safer, you can just do another resist here instead of the chaos res, and then just craft attack speed and you're done. The amulet, so I went for life, chaos multi and the +1, and then just filled in the resistance I need. Now you don't even need the +1, it's a bit of damage, but it's not that much damage in this build. So I think the two important models are just life and chaos dot multi, and then you can just fill in the resists you need or the +1, it's up to you. Rings, Circle of Nostalgia, and you want the mods with chaos damage while affected by Herald of Agony and Herald of Agony buff effect. So just two of those. Don't worry about my implicits, the Intimidate does nothing, so don't worry about that. Here I just have some cold resistance and minus chaos damage taken. Pretty much just want for the two cheapest rings, don't even look at the implicits, so you can just do that. Next, the gloves, so pretty much all you want, well the main thing you want is the Curse Enemies with level 12 Despair, or any level of Despair for that matter. You can get it on rare gloves with decent stats as well, but the easiest is probably getting into the hands of the High Templar, since they do have life on them and double resists to begin with, and it's pretty easy to get other implicits that are useful, such as +1 to frenzy charges, assuming you have frenzy charge on hit on your body, that is. Some life, +2 AoE gems is actually really good for me, but that's if I put my auras in my gloves, so I need to switch the gems around, but I haven't bothered recoloring them. So you can easily do that, pretty cheap. I think I got these gloves for 2 exalts, and they have 4 implicits that are good for me. The cast period of course useless, but if you just care for the Despair on hit, I think you can get a pair for maybe 40 to 50 chaos. Next up, the belt, I just went for life and whatever resists I needed to cap my resist. You can get chaos damage on here as well if you wanted some more damage, it's up to you. Now the boots, I went in 35% move speed because I do want to move fast, and tailwind since it's up pretty most of the time, since we do have a diamond flask with Coralitos, and we have a little bit of crit chance, not too much, but it's enough to keep tailwind up. And on top of that, I went with the poison so you inflict deal damage faster. I only have the tier 2, a minimum rolled even, so you can get 10% on here as well, but it'll probably cost a bit more expensive. And you just want life and resists on here. And then the body, so you have a few options here. Now you can either have a warlord, well you can just use a warlord by itself, but I would not recommend that. Either want a warlord and a redeemer, or a warlord and a hunter. A warlord and a hunter I'd say is more defensive, and redeemer is more offensive. Since with redeemer is what I went with, you have the 10% chance to gain a frenzy charge on hit, so you have frenzy charges for more speed and damage. But then for the defensive option, you'd have to go with physical damage from hits taken as cold damage, and then just life and resists. And if you go with hunter, you're just gonna get the minus 15 mana cost, and you'll get physical damage from hits taken as chaos damage, which is more defensive in this build, but you do lose the frenzy charge generation. But the same principle then, just life and resists on your body. Now I'll talk about the defensive first, so you understand a bit more about the gear. So we are using Glorious Vanity with Xibakua, which gives us the keys on Divine Flesh. You can obviously use this anywhere else on your tree, it doesn't matter, as long as you get the keystone, which gives us 50% elemental damage taken as chaos damage, and also +10 to maximum chaos res. So pretty much half of the elemental damage we take is going to get rolled against our chaos resist. So we did stack some chaos res, you get +10% maximum here, you get +1 here, and we get +2 on our quiver, which gives us 88% chaos res. So we have a lot of mitigation through that. On top of that, the Darkscorn gives us 25% of physical damage taken as chaos, and then we have 10% taken as cold on our helm and 15% on our body, which is another 25, so that's 50% physical taken as either cold or chaos, which the cold, again, half of it gets taken as chaos anyway, so a lot of physical mitigation as well. On top of that, we're using a Basalt Flask, but you can choose to opt out of this because you're already pretty tanky even without it. On top of that, this build, you do want evasion on most of your gear pieces, so you get a decent amount of evasion, and we go for Acro and Phase Acro for dodge. I'm even using Valgrace as well, so it gives you even more dodge. So this build is definitely very tanky. We have 5k life, but you can definitely push that a lot higher. since most of the life rolls on my gear are pretty mediocre and can go pretty quite a bit higher. On top of that, you're pretty close to a lot of life nodes, so feel free if you want more life to drop a few nodes here and there, and you can pick up more life to fill out your tree. So next, I think I'll continue talking about the skill tree. So pretty much just mostly damage, attack speed, Wind Dancer, important node over here, of course Divine Flesh. You can fill out more Sign life if you wanted, like I said. The rest, we went for a Thread of Hope, since there's quite a few nodes you can take, they're pretty nice for this build. But you can also just drop the Thread of Hope, and I'd say you still want to take Master Fletcher in that case though. And then you can just spend the points somewhere else, but I think it's worth it. We are using a Cluster Jewel, so I want to do Touch of Cruelty, which isn't that great, but it gives you a hinder, so more defensive. Wicked Pal and Unholy Grace, kills damage and attack speed. Attack speed is pretty good in this build. And then we went for the medium clusters, which are the more important ones, which damage over time multiplier. And Poison to Afflict, deal 300% increased damage, so low tolerance, you definitely want that. And Circling Oblivion is pretty nice as well, increases the duration, which is increasing the damage as well. And then we have Eternal Suffering here, and Wasting Affliction. So those are the cluster jewels we went with. And then the normal jewels, you're pretty much just mainly looking for attack speed and life, and maybe some damage over time here and there. Chaos.multi, pretty good stat as well. So those are my jewels. I think most of my jewels I got them for 10 chaos, so definitely not the best jewels, but also not the worst. And we have one with phasing over here as well. And then the one here is a Corrupted Blood Jewel, pretty much one of the cheapest I could find. It does not even have life, so that's that. Then the flasks, Quicksilver, Corralidos, Sinner Swallow, Blow the Karui, and Basalt. Now the Quicksilver and the Basalt you can swap out if you want. You do want something with curse removal though, I'd advise that. I'd say these 3 flasks you should leave. Blow of the Karui is very good for sustain. Karui, the signature in the poison build, is a must. Sinner Swallow technically you can chain as well, but it does give us Onslaught and some recover, so I think it's a pretty good flask in most builds. And so lastly, I suppose the Gemlings, Scourge Arrow, Mirage Archer, Awaken Unbound Ailments, Deadly Ailments, Awaken at Chaos, and Infuse Channeling. Now we are using 3 Awaken Gems, but these 3 gems are I think like 30 chaos or something like that. They're very cheap Awaken Gems, so you may as well buy them. We have multiple totems, Wither, Spell Totem, and Faster Casting. It's pretty much just on bosses, you drop your totems, and they will cast Wither on the boss, which makes them take increased chaos damage, so pretty good there. Auras, Malevolence, Plugbearer, Herald of Agony. You don't need the online, I was just leveling this back up to level 3, since we only have 3 mana cost, and we have plenty of mana to just spam this anyway, you're never gonna run out. And next we have Valgrace, increased duration, cast and everything, and Steelskin, just some more defensive, and of course Valgrace, the dodge. You can also use Val Haste if you rather have some more speed instead of the dodge, it's up to you. Then we have Withering Step, Dash, Second Wind, with Enhance, Calling Strike, and Precision. Now, like I said, this all need to be in a 6-link. You can also drop the Calling Strike, it's not that big a deal. I actually don't even use it most of the times. And the Precision, the main links are Withering Dash, Withering Step, Dash, and Second Wind, and you can use an Enhance as well, which helps them, but it's optional, since we can spam them quite a lot of times, so as you can see, that's very useful for traveling. I think those are all the gems, that's the build. I think I maybe spent 40 exalts or something around there on this build, but you can definitely do it a lot less, since I went for a lot of gear with double influence, so it's an Awakened Orb in every slot almost, which is 4 exalts by itself. So you can do the build cheaper. It's a very good all-rounded build. I hope you like it, and see you next time.